This is Lisa Brerley here, and my husband beside me, Scott Brerley, and this is season two. We are super excited, episode two of Soulmates and Suitcases, and we have our special guest here today, Angel Kidd. We're excited to have Angel on our show today. I know Scott and I are going to learn a lot today from Angel and her experience and over the last, I think roughly 8 years or so of her life. And we are going to dive in and our audience, I know you are going to learn a lot today and find out more about something that you may know nothing about or very little about. So welcome, Angel.
Thank you. Yes, very happy to be here and talk about it. Yes, it is something that a lot of people don't know about, so that's why I'm here to help spread some information, some education.
Awesome. Super, super. And you're one of our youngest guests, I must say. So I'm very intrigued and excited to hear from you. Tell us a little bit about kind of your little bit of your background and maybe your purpose and mission for really coming on our podcast.
Yeah, for sure. So yes, I'll be 25 next month. Um, I am from Minnesota, and yes, I am here to talk about dissociative disorders, specifically OSDD, which is what I was diagnosed with in October 2025, which is Other Specified Dissociative Disorder. It is one of five recognized disorders, dissociative disorders. The one that most people will be familiar with is DID, or dissociative identity disorder, which used to be called multiple personality disorder.
Mm.
And so what I have, OSDD, is basically the closest that you can be to that without actually having that. So, like to have DID, you need to have at least two alters and you need to have amnesia. Where OSDD, you basically have one of the two. So I have alters, but I have no amnesia between them. And so they can all talk to each other. They all know what's going on. And so, yeah, I have about 16 of them. And I've gone on about like a 2-year journey of trying to figure out what's been going on and get diagnosed. It sort of started when I was 15, 16, and I had a toxic relationship that kind of um, was the catalyst for all of this. And so, yes, I am ready to answer any questions, tell my story, whatever you'd like.
Yeah, we'd love to jump in.
Yeah, I would like to know how it happens. Is it stress related and that sets it off, or is it trauma related, or
All the
Yes,
all the
above.
above?
so
Yeah.
yeah, so DID specifically generally stems from repeated severe trauma in childhood, like physical abuse, sexual abuse, stuff like that, because a child's brain cannot comprehend what's really happening. It's like,
Mm.
because a lot of abuse comes from people that are like close to you or that are supposed to be like protecting you. And so a child's brain is like, what's going on? This person that loves me is hurting me. These two things can't be true at the same time. And so their brain just like splits into a part that holds the trauma and a part that has no memory of the trauma. Um, and so for me, I didn't necessarily have a very traumatic childhood. I had two older brothers who moved out when I was very little, and I felt pretty alone as a child. And so that's sort of where mine came from. I started seeing characters. Like I was a writer, I would see characters with me in the room with me, things like that. When I was feeling really alone, they would comfort me. Um, and yes, it really, excuse me, started seeing them around when I had my first relationship, where he was very emotionally, mentally manipulative. Um, and so, yes, that's where mine would come in. Like whenever I would dissociate. Like when he was having me do things that I didn't really want to do, I would just kind of zone out. Um, and maybe like see one of the characters at the time that I thought with me. Um, but yes, otherwise I just thought that it was like mood swings or something. Like I would switch very quickly between acting like a child, like, oh my gosh, like so excited, to like very like depressed, to stuff like that. But yes, I don't actually fully like switch between my identities. They kind of come forward to what I call like the co-pilot seat. So like I'm always in control, but they can kind of like talk to me and like suggest things.
Extremely fascinating. Like
Hmm.
this is I don't know if I've spoken to someone with that's talked about having this before. And you mentioned right at the first of our conversation here about having alters. And
Hmm.
I was actually listening to a video before coming on with you and understanding what that means so our audience can kind of understand and get a grasp of that.
Yeah, so alters, kind of what I was saying before about like when your brain splits into parts that have different memories, that hold different things for different reasons. So like especially like the parts that hold the trauma, like is to or parts slash alters. Um, to keep the rest of you safe. Like that's your brain's survival coping mechanism. Like if you were to know of this trauma, you would be just too overwhelmed, etc. And so, yes, the purpose of these disorders is to make you not know that you have the disorder.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to get diagnosed. Like a lot of people, I think the statistic for DID specifically is go to therapy for like 6 to 12 years before they realize that they have DID. Um, and yeah, OSDD is something that is even less known about. Like my therapist hadn't heard of it before. I had to educate them on it. Um, and yeah, even though there was a study in 2019 by the World Health Organization that showed that both DID and OSDD are have a higher global percentage than anorexia and schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, but nobody knows about them and nobody talks about them. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Or and also misdiagnosed
Mm.
Yeah,
in the process.
absolutely.
Yeah, so do you experience so like I guess what would your day look like in regards to, how you move through your day? And are there other things on top of those experiences that affect your day? So, many people who may have a traumatic background will go to addictions, for example, so that they also deal with those things. So, what's your day look like?
Yeah, so um, for me personally, my day is very similar to anybody else's. My alters don't super well, I should say, now that I've kind of done the work and gotten to the other side of this, they don't super affect me. They don't come forward a lot. But when I was really going through all of this and figuring it out, and yeah, when I realized that they were all there and they were real, um, they would like there was one morning I woke up before work and I could just hear them all talking. They were just all chattering like, okay, we gotta help her get ready for work. We gotta do this, we gotta do that. And it was just so loud. And I was like, you have to you have to leave me alone. You have to you have to let me just like do this. And so I decided to like give each of them a task. So like um, I would say like, okay, Mindy, you are going to pick out our outfit for the day. And Jordan, you are going to me drive to work. And Taylor, you are going to help me at work. So that they would know that they had a purpose and until their purpose came about, that they could go relax. Um, And so, yeah, basically, dissociation for me is just kind of, it would mostly come up during intimate situations, physical situations. Um, yeah, because I would just kind of shut down, shut off, stare off into space. Um, and yeah, just have like flashbacks because PTSD is always comorbid with dissociative disorders. If you have one, you also have PTSD. Um, and Yeah, so I kind of lost the question, but
That's okay. So do you also experience other challenges besides like things like the having to tell these parts of your brain that are like the copious kind of conversations going on? Are there other things that you also deal with?
um, yes, there's there's a lot of inherent like self-doubt and denial that comes with dissociative disorders. Because like I said, that is the purpose of them is to make you not know that you have them. And so if you start thinking like, oh, maybe I have this, your brain's like, no, 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 you don't have that. No, no, no. Keep that off in the closet. Um, but what was I gonna say? And yeah, because like nobody wants to think that they're like different like this. Like, what do you mean? Like everybody is just one person. Like I'm not like no, no, no. So coming to terms with that is definitely a journey. Um, and there are still times when I think like, is this actually like real? Like even though like I went and like got this diagnosis, like is am I just like making this up somehow or something? But yeah, my therapist and everybody told me like, no, like this is this is really happening. Like it's okay. Like if if you were making it up, you would know that you were making it up. Like, and I was like, yeah, I suppose that makes sense. Um, yeah.
So after you what was the process after diagnosed?
Yeah, so for me, diagnosis was kind of the tail end of it because yeah, I tried to get diagnosed once and was told that I they didn't even want to give me a dissociative test. They said that it wouldn't reveal anything. They said that my symptoms were atypical. Um, so I was dismissed. And so I didn't want to try again for a long time. And so I just worked with my therapist for a long time for with communication and setting boundaries with the alters and everything like that. Um, but so yeah, the getting diagnosed was just kind of the closure and the validation that I needed to yeah know that um, yeah that I was okay and that like yeah that this is real and that people see me like I'm not going crazy like um but yeah ever since then I've felt more like myself than ever they really don't come forward all that often. They still do sometimes, mostly to just say hi or give me updates about like the inner world. Um, and but yeah, I do still sometimes like if I'm having a difficult conversation with my boyfriend or something, like I might start to dissociate a little bit, and one of them might come forward a little bit to like help me have that conversation. Um, yeah.
So is it mostly therapy or is there medication that they have to help curb it?
Um, Mostly therapy. I don't know if there is. Yeah, no, because originally, yeah, originally I was diagnosed with depression. And so I started taking medication for that. And then I was diagnosed with PTSD, which the first time I tried to get, well, I wasn't actually looking for a diagnosis. I was feeling so down and so bad and like so confused. I just wanted to know what was going on with me. I had tried therapy in the past. I didn't want to try it again. And so I went and saw a psychiatrist to try and see if they could figure out what was going on. And I told them my story, and they said, um, well, I can't diagnose you with anything. I can't diagnose you with PTSD because he didn't physically abuse you or assault you. And I was like, oh, okay. And so that's just really kind of invalidating to hear that your traumatic experience wasn't quote unquote traumatic enough. Um, and so, yes, then I did go back to therapy with a very nice therapist. And she, after talking with me, she did in fact diagnose me with PTSD. And so, yes, like you said before, misdiagnosis is just something that it's prevalent because the different people interpret the criteria differently. Like the psychiatrist was more so going off of the initial cause of it, whereas my therapist was going off of the symptoms. Like, yes, you definitely have the symptoms of PTSD. Um, yeah.
I'm very glad that you were heard by someone. Like that to me,
Hmm.
that's what the bottom line is. And I think, we're in our 50s and we're finally being heard, being heard a little more. And I'm glad you were heard at a younger age and someone's listening to your experiences. And we were actually, just before we came on with you, we were talking about, traumatic backgrounds and, we can put these traumatic experiences on these different like levels and say, wow, that was traumatic, or that didn't seem very traumatic in regards to our past. And that's where everybody's individual in how we absorb this emotion that comes with any experience that we have from our background. And our body really is doing us a favor to keep us safe and, that sort of thing. And so, when you were talking about, therapies in your information, your bio that you shared with me, you did lots of various therapies. Can you talk about those?
Yes, for sure. So when I was diagnosed with PTSD, my first therapist recommended that I try EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization reprocessing, something like that. She wasn't trained in it yet, so she referred me to another therapist, and I talked with him for a while. Um, and this was like before um, I was seeing the characters, hearing them more often, but like I didn't know that they were like alters and like this and that. Like we were trying to, it was all kind of coming to the forefront when I was talking to him. So we never actually ended up doing EMDR because he didn't think it was safe yet with where my head was at. Um, but because yeah, one of the things that you have to do before you can start EMDR is like an exercise that they call like safe place or calm state, something like that, that you have to create a safe place in your mind that if you get triggered, you can go to like calm yourself down. And so every time I would try to do that, I would see my ex there. Like I couldn't keep him out. Like a memory of him would come up, or I would just see him just smirking at me. And I was like, this isn't working. There's like something like sabotaging me from like getting there. And he was like, okay, well let's have you take this dissociative test to see if there is something sabotaging you. Um, and so I did, and um, uh, at first, he didn't really know what it meant, like what it said. And sorry, I'm kind of in and out right now. Um, yes, one of the other things that they teach you is like grounding techniques. So I have ice. Ice really helps you kind of like ground.
Yep.
Um, I've
I've
heard that it's
used
also
that
good for
before.
anxiety. What's that?
Yeah. I've used that before as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, so I had been doing a lot of my own research because yeah, I wasn't really getting answers from him. And I asked him, I was like, could it be OSDD? I had just come across this, and um he looked back at the test and he was like, oh yeah, it says OSDD at the top. Look at that. What is that? Tell me about that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so these two therapists obviously didn't have quite of the experience that I wanted. And so I went and found another one who did have more experience working with people, like with alters with parts. And with her, I did IFS, internal family systems therapy, which you don't actually need to have alters to do. Anybody can do IFS because everybody has different parts of themselves. Like if you've ever said like, "Oh, my inner child is coming out right now," like that doesn't mean that it's like an alter necessarily, but it is a part of you because like there's like the happy part of you and the sad part of you, this and that. And so the purpose of IFS is to get those parts to like talk to each other and to really understand what the purpose of each of them is and to come at any sort of like negative emotions or things like that with compassion, with curiosity, with courage. There's 8 C's that you're supposed to come to each of these parts, have these conversations with. And so that was definitely helpful. And then I tried a little bit of it's called accelerated resolution therapy or ART, which is similar to EMDR, where it uses bilateral stimulation, but it's supposed to work faster and be more of an internal experience. Like you don't have to like talk it out, this and that. And so I I wasn't sure about it at first, so I didn't want to try it on something traumatic, so I just did it on like a memory from my childhood. Um, and basically, the point of it is to replace the negative images with a positive image through this series that like the therapist has like a script that you go through, and every time like, okay, do you still see this? Okay, go back and try again, do it like this. And so like for me, it was my mom was yelling at me because I interrupted her on the phone. And so I changed it into her um, looking at me and smiling, and the phone changed into a chocolate bar. So she was giving me a chocolate bar. And I was like, and so now when I think about that, that's what I think about more so than the yelling at me on the phone. Um, and yeah, at that point, I felt like I had kind of gotten like the inner strength and really talked it through with myself to the point that I didn't really need to continue um, the art therapy. But yes, those are the main things that I tried.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it sounds very challenging, I guess, trying to find people who are aware of
Hmm.
this, of OSDD,
Hmm.
and then having them support you in how you can move forward. So
Yes.
has any of these doctors or whatever therapies that you've gone to suggested other things that you can do in your daily life, whether it's, your diet, your exercise, your like personal sort of growth and development, or like what is it that they recommend for you or to you?
I mean, yeah, every doctor you go to is going to recommend those things like, oh yeah, eat healthy and exercise and this and that. But yeah, specifically for like dissociating, they really do just like teach you a lot of grounding techniques, like holding the ice, like breathing, like box breathing,
Yep.
um, and like sensory things, like what are 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can
Yep.
smell, um, things like that. And yeah, just how to, um, because there's like everybody has like negative self-talk.
Yep.
And so they just kind of teach you how to spin that into some like more of a positive self-talk. And yeah, the positive affirmations. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself things that you want to hear.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that can be helpful as well.
Oh, for sure. And all of those are great tips for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. And we seem to actually bring that up quite a bit in quite a few of our podcasts on how to take care of yourself, how to love yourself. Yeah, it's it's a journey for sure. And you started very young on that journey because I know for us it feels like later in life.
And you know how much courage you have?
Just
Yeah.
a brief pause in the show. If you'd like to dive deeper into our work, our books are available on Amazon. You can also get instant electronic copies at payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley authors. Now, back to the show.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard.
I have like it blows my mind away at how much courage you have.
Yeah,
I've
thank
heard
you.
some
That's good.
pretty like different stories growing up, and it's like to be able to tell people that because like when I was a kid, you would have been labeled crazy if you
Hmm.
had talked about that. Or even if you talked about trauma in the household. It's like,
Yeah.
Deal with it.
yeah, deal with it. You want something to cry about?
Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
definitely things have changed, that's for sure.
And I'm glad when I see what's happening now because there's more and more people like you and me and Lisa that are trying to get it out there. Because that's why we got the podcast is to get stuff out there so people can heal and
Well, and come to a level of compassion and empathy and just because someone's different, they're just different. It's
Hmm.
okay. And we're all dealing with things in our own way. And I think we have, I don't know, hundreds of years, thousands of years, I don't know, of trauma through generations and structures in society that have created things that makes this shift for people to be seen and heard very difficult. But it's starting to shift now. I think we're starting to come to a space of, hey, like we're not living in our old ways anymore. And I know you're young. We've seen a little bit more, and people older than us will say we saw a lot more. But I think a shift, a better shift is coming. I hopefully you're seeing that as well.
Yes, absolutely. I am seeing that. And honestly, I still see a lot of that the still like old way of thinking. Like my that first psychologist that I went to try and get diagnosed, she was still operating under a old understanding of dissociative disorders because um I like I told her that I could like see my alters, and she was like, hallucinations are not a like symptom of that. And I'm like, it's not a hallucination, like and she said that she was highly concerned that I was not working towards any sort of fusion or integration in therapy, because that is the main way that people think that systems need to heal or be cured, is to come back into one person. Um, but a lot of people who live as systems um, don't want to do that. They want to work as a cohesive unit. It's called functional multiplicity, because fusion is a very hard, B takes a really long time. And yeah, it just, for a lot of people, doesn't feel um, authentic, I guess. And like for me, suggesting that I just try and merge with all of them, like they feel like my family. And so it's like you're telling me to try and get rid of my family. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that. Like I want to work with them. Like why do I have to be quote unquote normal um just to fit your mold? But yes, there definitely is a lot more advocacy um coming up because yeah, when I was first looking at this, when I would like search OSDD, whatever on like YouTube, there would be like maybe a page of results.
Yeah.
And now I'm seeing some more people like come out about it, like, oh, I was just diagnosed with this, blah, blah, blah. Um, and so that's really good. And yeah, just any disability space too. Like I follow Molly Burke. She's a blind creator. She's really incredible. She's really the one that who inspired me to start doing all of this. She really advocates for universal accessibility and design, where creating spaces and experiences that everybody can participate in, regardless of disability or neurodivergence. And I just think that that's really beautiful, and I'm very happy that um, our society is moving in that direction.
Yes, exactly. And you
You,
will be the inspiration for someone else as well.
Mhm.
That's
you said the word normal, and like
Mhm.
really, what's normal today? There's like
Yeah.
really almost nothing normal in this world. And
like we want to say, except for the cycle on a washing machine. You run the normal cycle.
hmm
But yeah, and so now you are seeing people who are inspiring you to kind of
hmm
share your experience. Are you actually meeting or part of any groups so you can connect with other people as well?
I am part of a Facebook group for people with DID and OSDD. It's just a safe space where they can come on, ask for advice, just talk about their experiences. And so, yeah, that really helped me feel not so alone, and like I was like the only person going through this. Um, so that was definitely helpful. Um, and I'm not like affiliated with this organization or anything like that, but a site or nonprofit that I have found that I think is um, really helping the plurality space is called the I think it's called the Plural Association, where they have they've created courses, like video courses, I think, for like therapists and whatever to learn about these things and how to better treat them. And they just have a whole lot of information and statistics and stories from people who live as plural, as multiple, as systems with alters, however you want to say it. Um, And yeah, like that's how I found out about the fact that this is way more prevalent than anybody wants to believe that it is. And so, yes, those are
what's
those are the main ones.
is there a statistic at how prevalent it is?
Um, it is there's a lot of different ones, because it is really hard to, diagnose, and it's misdiagnosed all the time. But the if I'm remembering correctly, I know the main thing that they say about DID specifically is that the same percentage of people that have red hair have DID, and that's like the most conservative estimate. Most people think that there's more, and then OSDD is higher than that. So yeah, that's like 1 to 2%, and OSDD is maybe like 4% or something like that of the global population.
Mm. And is it more prevalent in like North American society? Do you know that or anything right now?
I have not looked at like the specific demographics, but I'm sure it probably is worldwide because, trauma is a worldwide experience.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
That's so true. Now, we talked about your diagnosis and your therapies and things like that. Did you want to talk about before, so your life before all this sort of happened and kind of your story or your history?
Um, yeah. Um, I think so yeah, I am just one person. I'm not an expert. I'm not trying to be a monolith for dissociative disorders and say like this is how everybody is. Like no, everybody's experience is extremely unique. But to talk about my own experience, um, I like they say that these things always like stem from childhood, and I don't know if mine did or not. I think there was probably like some sort of seed planted I say that my first experience with the altar potentially was when I was a child. I don't know how old, probably between 5 and 7. Um, I had just watched a movie, Rise of the Guardians, with Jack Frost. And that night when I went to bed, I saw Jack Frost in my room with me. And I was like, why are you here? What are you doing? Um, and so, yeah, I would just kind of see him every once in a while, but then he went away. I didn't think about it. And then, um, yeah, I was very lonely um, in the beginning of high school. I was very desperate for like a boyfriend, just seeing all of my friends and peers around me, like having these relationships and everything. Um, and so, yeah, I started writing stories, fan fictions, um, and I would see, yeah, the characters with me, and they would um, just talk to me, say that it's okay, say that I'm not alone. Um, and yeah, I've just always felt different from other people, and I just couldn't really understand why. Um, and so, yeah, having all of this come forward does kind of help. And like, I did always feel like I could just sort of detach my brain from my mouth almost. Like, if I was like talking to a friend, if they were talking to me about like a complex issue, whatever, a family issue, um, that I really had no experience with. I had no idea how to respond to that. Like, I would just start saying things like that were profound. And I was like, where is this coming from? And so, yeah, I guess that's now looking back, probably part of all of this, maybe one of them coming forward, helping out. Um, and yeah, I've always liked theater. I've liked acting because yeah, I didn't super like being myself. I preferred being somebody else. Um, because yeah, people liked um, liked those characters. They made them laugh and everything. And like I was actually I wasn't popular, but I was like everybody liked me because I was nice and I would listen to them. And I guess I was kind of a social chameleon. Like I was on the outskirts of like a lot of groups, like the the nerds and the theater kids and the choir kids and the this and that.
Sounds like my growing up.
Yeah, right. Um, and yeah, I just never super felt like I totally fit in anywhere, and people just confused me, like the way that like they would just have all this drama and just like hurt each other. And so, yeah, I would really just retreat into books, movies, um, writing to escape from reality. Not that my reality was horrible or anything like that, but I just felt so different and isolated, even though I was surrounded by a lot of people that said, "Oh my God, you're so great!" Like, um, and yeah, because that's kind of why I wanted to be a writer. That was the main reason I always said, like, I want to give people an escape, like I had um, with my favorite stories. Um, and yeah, I've kind of moved away from writing. I went to college, excuse me, for creative writing, and realized that I like editing more than writing. So now I edit children's books, and I love it. And yeah, I have Excuse me. Um, I have two child alters who definitely enjoy it and help me. If I'm like, would a kid like this? Would a kid understand this? They will give me feedback. Um, yeah.
Well, I think one of the, you talked about, the question of, is this from my childhood?
Hmm.
And I think we never truly understand the impact that our family, our parents, our upbringing has had on us. But one of the things I've realized at the age of 52 is, those things now that bring me joy, like you're talking about doing the children's books and doing the editing, are those things I experienced as a child when I didn't have everybody's crap plastered onto me and I um, did them over and over and over and over in my life and thought that was me. And so that revisiting, like you're at 24, I only really discovered that idea in my 50s. Like I'm painting now. I'm like things I used to do when I was a kid when the worries were less, the stress was less, all those things were seemed less.
Mm.
And we've talked about this before, is that we're all born perfect. It's the plastering and bombardment of everyone else's expectations that creates us. And my upbringing kind of sounds a little bit more like yours, where nothing big really happened in regards to, family life and things were quote unquote good. However, like we were talking at the top of the show, everyone translates or puts different meanings to what's happening in their upbringing, and the trauma is still big. Like I consider myself a fairly sensitive person, so
Mhm.
when something which didn't seem like a big thing, like for example, I had my older brother's hockey team sing happy birthday to me at the age of 6. Like that was traumatizing to me because I was the sensitive, shy one. So we don't really, and I don't know how much you always have to dive into those past traumas, but they definitely do create the person that you believe you are when you grow up. And it's to start to then, I guess, come to a place of, well, what really do I want and what do I love and what do I need? And kind of going back a little bit to that childhood time, right? I don't know if you kind
Hmm.
of feel that a
Yeah,
bit.
no, I do. I totally understand that because yeah, I for the longest time I didn't really know who I was or what I wanted or yeah, where I fit in or anything like that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I had such a hard time finding or creating a safe place in my head because everywhere that I would imagine just had a connotation with somebody else. Like I couldn't find something that was like just mine. Like nothing felt like me. And so I really thought about it and I went back and was like, okay, what's a place where I really felt like me, where I could just be me? And it was my uncle's farm where we always go for Christmas and the 4th of July and stuff and Easter. We and I have just fond memories of going there as a child and just being carefree, just playing. And so that and like seeing the animals, I love animals, and so I would and like animals are like pure, most of them. And so like yeah, just creating that sort of space of like okay, like pure childhood bliss and innocent animals just really helped and yeah, I do think that that is a big thing that can help a lot of people is just embracing their inner child, talking to it and healing it because yeah, a lot of I think our insecurities and things like that do stem from things that we didn't get as children. So if we can give ourselves those things now, it can be really healing.
Exactly. And it's not a blame game. And that's, I think a lot of people want to say and go that route. And because, yeah, we were innocent children, right? Who were being bombarded or misguided or mistreated
Mm,
or whatever. And I know lots of times even I see this guy watches shows on TV and it's like the whole fiction sort of genre of, you know, it is a little bit of letting that brain sort of get lost and feel free again and just let it go. And yeah, I think about that. And it's funny because I'm not one of those people. I have a hard time with that stuff, with fiction. Like I'm like
mm.
nonfiction, straight kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, it's just very interesting. And I'm so glad you're on this sort of journey of discovering that for yourself. It's
Mhm.
yeah, at so young, such a young age. Like,
Well, it's inspiring. The amount of people that
oh,
you will help in your lifetime
yeah,
is inspiring.
Yeah, yeah, I never really aimed to I was never like a leader or something. I've always been a follower. If a group of people's like, "What should we do?" I'm like, "You decide." I'm like,
sounds like me.
but yeah,
Like exactly.
um, um, but yeah, it just really has just saddened me just how much, or I should say, lack of education there is about these things, or misinformation, stigma, um, especially in the media. Like the if you say multiple personality disorder to somebody, they'll be like, "Oh, like split?" Like, no, not like split. Um, because yeah, that's something that a lot of people believe about dissociative disorders is that we all have a violent alter. Like, oh, are they going to come out? Are they going to hurt me? And it's like, no, we don't want to hurt anybody. And I mean, like, every human being has the potential for violence. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we are not any more predisposed to it. In fact, I would say that people who have gone through a lot of trauma are usually the most sympathetic, empathetic people I've met because they don't want other people to hurt the way that they've hurt. Um, and yeah, there's actually a lot of if there is any sort of violence in a system, it's usually um, internalized, self-inflicted. There's a lot of suicidal ideation in people with dissociative disorders because, yeah, children, they, when their brains are developing and they're going through all of this trauma, they don't understand. They might think it's their fault. They put all of this guilt and this blame on themselves. And so if there's a part of them that that's the only thing that they know, like my life is never going to get better. I'm always going to feel this way, like and like this is our fault. Like that can really manifest into self-hatred. And so yeah, it's just really unfortunate that it is so dramatized and everything. Like, yes, obviously it's all fiction, but yeah, people don't view it as that sometimes, or um, but yeah, there have been strides and better representations in the media. Still not the best, but like uh, Marvel did a series called Moon Knight. He has DID, and that was really good. But again, he has a violent alter. And there's a series on Apple TV called The Crowded Room. He has DID, and that one is really good, really cool. But again, it's centered around a alter that has or is accused of being violent. Um, and yeah, it's just we need more authentic stories and just people or like I'm just like you, like I just want to be myself. I just want to, heal from my stuff and just I don't, yeah, it's unfortunate.
The cool part is though, is that they're starting to work on stuff because it's like PTSD was thought
Hmm.
at one point you had to be in a war to get PTSD.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's really changed.
it's trauma, the same thing. It's like if some people told their story of trauma years ago, they would have got laughed at. You don't have trauma.
Hmm.
However, though, fast forward, I finally go somewhere and deal with my trauma, and then I get a life.
Hmm.
Final pause. If you've got a message on your heart and want to be our guest, don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you. Visit forwardwalkingchoices.com, scroll to the Soulmates and Suitcases podcast section, and click Apply Here. Now back to the show.
Hmm.
Where before I struck, like all the stuff you talked about,
Hmm.
I could really identify with
Hmm.
from the path that I've led.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like Dr. Amen, we talk about strides people. He's got, I think he's got it down to 7 different types of ADHD,
Mm.
and he goes head injury should be in their own category.
Mm.
Scott's had major head injury at the age of 7. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The way that the diagnostic criteria and everything is constantly evolving is pretty crazy. Like, yeah, I was just working on a book about PTSD actually, and so I was doing the research, and there are professionals who are advocating for expanding the diagnostic criteria to things like um, divorce or loss of a
Yeah.
loved one or racism or going through the pandemic because those things can be very dramatic.
Those
Um,
are
and
accidents.
Yeah.
mhm, for sure. And yeah, I know our time is coming short. But if there's one interesting thing that I could sort of leave off with, if that's okay.
That
Yes,
would be
please.
excellent.
Okay. Yeah, so something interesting that I have noticed um, when people have these sorts of conversations or when people are talking about disability and mental disorders, they often default to using the word suffering. Like,
Mm.
that person is suffering from PTSD or that person is suffering from blindness. And I just think that it is very interesting that that is the word that society has come to default to because it inherently implies that just because you have this disability or you have this disorder, you must be suffering. Your life must be worse than mine. Like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine the amount of pain you must be in. And it's just like, I just because somebody's life is different than yours and they have different challenges than you doesn't necessarily mean that they are suffering. Like, if I want to say that, like, I am suffering, like, I need help, like, yes, of course, I can say that, but nobody else should put that onto somebody else. Nobody else should tell you that you are suffering. Like, and yeah, I think as a society, we should change the language to more like living with this person is living with PTSD or living with blindness. Um, and so, yeah.
Thank
That's
you for
fun.
that.
Thanks. That's
Yeah.
absolutely great. Last week I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he's going on about how crazy he feels. So I'm like,
Mhm.
well, who's saying it's crazy? And
Mhm.
he wasn't quite catching it because it is. Who's given it permission to say it's crazy? It's just you today.
It's just
Mhm.
life. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Living with it, experience.
All these labels and all the stuff that we've done to each other for decades and like it's silly.
Some labels help some direction though, like you were
No,
diagnosed
yeah,
with
but I'm not
ADHD.
talking labels. I'm talking just as society labels,
Yes,
not
that
Mm,
that
expectation.
you're supposed to be this like
hmm
straight and narrow. Not bad, but there's no jogging in life. You're supposed to be
Yeah. Fit in this box.
find somebody in high school, get married, have kids, buy a house,
Yeah.
and
hmm Yep.
Yeah. But that's an excellent way to end off. And so if someone is experiencing these things similar to you, what's your suggestion to them as to maybe a possible route or journey that they can take to get some support?
Um, yeah, for sure. I mean, um, I am a strong advocate for therapy. Um, some people that's not going to be their path, and that's all right. But if um, you are experiencing like blackouts or loss of time or just dissociating and or hearing voices, seeing things, I recommend trying to um, write things down, try to like communicate with yourself, like just see like, hey, I am like I want to do this today, and then see later on if something has responded and be like, I don't remember writing that. Um, and yeah, just really look into there are so many great resources online of just um, learning grounding techniques and coping mechanisms. And yeah, what works for one person won't necessarily work for the next person. And so just doing the self-exploration and just giving yourself permission to feel the way that you feel and to forgive yourself. That's a big thing that I've found a lot of people need to do,
Mm.
or should do, I say, or because yeah, we all just hold some sort of, if I had done this differently, like maybe it wouldn't have happened. And we just need to say, it's okay, it happened, and just move on. And yeah, I am very grateful for you guys for having me on and speaking with me. And yes, I sorry, all of us just yeah, I want to say thank you and hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, night, life, whatever.
Thank you. We truly appreciate, Angel, your experience, your story, and I know there will be many people who resonate with you, and they may want to reach out to you. So we'll include that information as well in the write-up. And as well, you told us about that resource online
hmm
for not only people who are experiencing it, but the therapists, the professionals who
hmm
are helping people as well. So we'll definitely include all that. So we would want to give you a big thank you. And again, like Scott said, how brave you are and courageous you are to share your story. And we truly appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
All right.
as we like to do, we close off in the Thai way.
Yeah, in Thailand.
Kapoon.
Kapunka, thank you so much.
Kapunka, yes, I like it.
Kapunka. All right. Take care, Angel. Thank
Thank
you.
you. It's been
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
great.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Want to get our books fast and at the best price? Get your electronic copy at https://payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley authors. Again, that's https://payhip.com/Lisa Scott Brearley authors.